Look, here's the thing. You've probably heard it your whole life. Don't eat sugar or you'll get diabetes. It sounds so familiar that it feels like common sense. But what if I told you that the story is way more complicated than that? And honestly, kind of more interesting too. Because sugar isn't the cartoon villain we've made it out to be. It plays a role, sure, but it's not the direct cause of diabetes. And once you understand what actually causes diabetes, you'll start looking at food, your body, and even your habits in a totally different way. You know what surprised me when I first learned this? People don't get diabetes just because they ate a piece of cake. That's not how the body works. Diabetes doesn't show up overnight because you had dessert. It develops through a long chain of things happening inside the body over time. And when we blame sugar alone, we miss the real problem. It's like blaming one raindrop for a flood. The rain matters, but it's the storm that does the damage. So let's slow down and talk about what diabetes actually is. There are two main types most people talk about, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition. That means the immune system, which is supposed to protect you, accidentally attacks the cells in the pancreas that make insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells, where it can be used for energy. When those insulin-making cells get destroyed, the body can't produce enough insulin anymore. That has nothing to do with how much sugar someone eats. Kids can get type 1 diabetes. Adults can get it too. It's about the immune system, not dessert. Type 2 diabetes is different. This is the type most people are talking about when they argue about sugar. With type 2 diabetes, the body still makes insulin, especially in the early stages. The problem is that the cells stop responding to it properly. This is called insulin resistance. Imagine insulin knocking on the door of your cells saying, "Hey, let me bring this sugar inside so you can use it for energy." And the cells are like, "Nah, we're good, not today." So sugar stays in the bloodstream instead of going into the cells. Over time, the pancreas tries harder and harder to fix the problem by making more insulin. Eventually, it can't keep up. Blood sugar stays high. That's type 2 diabetes. Here's where people get confused. Blood sugar is high in diabetes, so people assume sugar must be the cause. That sounds logical at first. But your blood sugar doesn't just come from candy and soda. Almost everything you eat turns into glucose eventually. Bread turns into glucose. Rice turns into glucose. Potatoes turn into glucose. Even protein and fat can be converted into glucose if the body needs it. Glucose is the main fuel your body runs on. So sugar itself is not the enemy. The problem is how your body handles it. Think about it like this. If your car engine is broken, you don't blame gasoline. Gasoline is supposed to go into the engine and get burned for energy. If it just sits there and causes problems, that's not because gasoline is evil. It's because something inside the engine isn't working right. In type 2 diabetes, the engine problem is insulin resistance. So where did the idea come from that sugar causes diabetes? Part of it is because sugary foods and drinks are easy to overconsume. They don't make you feel full the way whole foods do. You can drink a large soda in 2 minutes and take in more calories than you would from a full meal. And those calories don't come with much fiber, protein, or vitamins. Over time, this can lead to weight gain. And weight gain, especially around the belly, is strongly linked to insulin resistance. That's the key point most people miss. Sugar doesn't directly cause diabetes, but eating too many calories over time, especially from ultra-processed foods and sugary drinks, increases the risk of becoming overweight. And being overweight increases the risk of insulin resistance. And insulin resistance increases the risk of type 2 diabetes. It's a chain reaction. Sugar is part of the story, but it's not the whole story. Now let's talk about risk factors, because this is where things really get real. Genetics matter. If diabetes runs in your family, your risk is higher. You can't change your genes. Activity level matters. If you're inactive and sit most of the day, your muscles don't use much glucose, and insulin resistance becomes more likely. Body fat matters, especially visceral fat, the fat around your organs. Diet quality matters. Sleep matters. Stress matters. All of these things come together and shape how your body handles sugar. Here's a way to picture it. Imagine diabetes risk like a gun with multiple bullets inside. One bullet is family history. Another is being inactive. Another is eating lots of ultra-processed food. Another is carrying extra body fat. Another is chronic stress. One bullet alone doesn't fire the gun. But the more bullets you load, the higher the chance that one day something pulls the trigger. Sugar by itself is not the trigger. It's just one of the bullets that can add to the overall risk if everything else is already there. Now let's compare two people. Person 1 eats a balanced diet most of the time. They walk regularly. They don't drink soda every day. They enjoy dessert sometimes. They sleep okay. Even if diabetes runs in their family, their risk is relatively low. Person 2 eats mostly processed food, drinks sugary drinks often, doesn't move much, and has gained a lot of weight over the years. Even if they rarely eat candy, their risk is much higher. Same sugar exposure in theory, totally different outcome in reality. This is why focusing only on sugar is misleading. It distracts us from the bigger picture, how the whole body responds to food and lifestyle over time. Now let's talk about something important: natural sugar versus processed sugar. An apple and a soda both contain sugar, but they behave very differently in the body. When you eat an apple, you're getting sugar packaged with fiber, water, and micronutrients. That fiber slows down digestion. Sugar enters the bloodstream gradually. Insulin can handle it smoothly. You also feel full, which makes it harder to overeat. When you drink soda, you're getting sugar without fiber. It hits your bloodstream fast. Blood sugar rises quickly. Insulin spikes quickly. And because liquids don't make you feel full, it's easy to take in way more sugar and calories than you realize. Over time, those repeated spikes and extra calories increase the chance of insulin resistance. So fruit doesn't cause diabetes. In fact, research shows that people who eat more whole fruits tend to have a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. The fiber matters. The structure of the food matters. How fast sugar enters your blood matters. That's the difference between whole foods and ultra-processed foods. And this brings us to another misunderstanding. People say, so should I cut out sugar completely? No, your body still needs glucose. Even if you cut out table sugar, your body will make glucose from other foods. You can't eliminate sugar from human metabolism. What you can do is choose better sources of it and control how much and how often you're getting it. This is where quality matters more than purity. It's not about being perfect. It's about patterns. If most of your meals are made from whole foods like vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, lean proteins and healthy fats, your body usually handles sugar just fine. If most of your calories come from soda, candy, pastries and ultra-processed snacks, that's when problems start to show up. Another thing people don't realize is that muscle is a powerful protector against diabetes. Muscles use glucose. When you move your body, especially when you do resistance training or even just regular walking, your muscles pull sugar out of your blood without needing as much insulin. That means physical activity makes your body more sensitive to insulin. It's like oiling the lock so the key works better. This is why exercise is one of the most effective ways to prevent and manage type 2 diabetes. Sleep also plays a role. When you don't sleep enough, your body becomes more insulin resistant the next day. Stress hormones like cortisol can raise blood sugar. Chronic stress can push the system in the wrong direction. None of this has anything to do with a single cookie. It has to do with how the system works as a whole. Now let's talk about what people mean when they say sugar causes diabetes. What they usually mean is that high consumption of sugary drinks and processed foods is linked to higher rates of obesity and diabetes. That's true. But that's not the same as saying sugar directly causes diabetes in the way bacteria cause an infection. It's a risk factor, not a direct cause. Language matters, because when we oversimplify, we scare people instead of helping them understand. And fear-based nutrition rarely works long-term. When people think sugar is pure poison, they either obsess over it or swing back the other way and binge. Neither helps. Understanding does. So what actually reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes? Staying active, maintaining a healthy weight, eating mostly whole foods, getting enough sleep, managing stress. And yes, limiting sugary drinks and highly processed foods because they make it easier to overeat and harder for your body to regulate blood sugar. Notice what's missing from that list. It doesn't say never eat sugar again. It says don't build your entire diet around it. Here's something most people don't know. When someone with type 2 diabetes improves their diet and becomes more active, their insulin sensitivity can improve. Blood sugar can come down. In some cases, people can even go into remission. That tells you the problem was never just sugar. It was the whole system being overloaded. Let's also clear up a dangerous myth. Bitter foods don't cancel sugar. Drinking something bitter doesn't magically neutralize glucose. Your body doesn't work like a chemistry experiment. What matters is digestion, absorption, insulin response, and how your cells react over time. And here's where it gets interesting. Even foods we think of as healthy can raise blood sugar. White rice can spike blood sugar quickly. So can white bread. So can mashed potatoes. It's not about sweetness. It's about how fast glucose enters the bloodstream and how much of it enters at once. That's why pairing carbs with protein, fat and fiber can slow things down and make the blood sugar response smoother. This is why balanced meals matter. Not perfect meals, balanced ones. So if someone says sugar causes diabetes, what's the real answer? Sugar alone does not directly cause diabetes. But a diet high in sugary drinks and processed foods can contribute to weight gain and insulin resistance, which increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. That's the honest, evidence-based version. It's not dramatic, but it's true. And truth is more useful than fear. Now, let me talk to you like a friend for a second. If you love sweet things, you don't need to hate yourself. You need to look at the whole picture. How active are you? What does most of your diet look like? Are sweets an occasional thing or a daily thing? Are you drinking your sugar or eating it in whole foods? These questions matter more than cutting sugar out completely. And if diabetes runs in your family, this matters even more. You don't need to panic. You need to be aware. Awareness gives you power. It means your choices matter. So what should you actually do with this information? Choose whole foods more often than processed foods. Drink water instead of soda most of the time. Move your body regularly, even if it's just walking. Eat fruit without fear. Don't turn sugar into a monster, but don't make it your main fuel either. Think long-term, not one meal at a time. Diabetes is complex. Sugar is simple. And simple villains make for good stories, but bad health advice. The real enemy isn't sugar. The real enemy is misunderstanding how your body works. When you understand it, you stop being afraid and start making smarter choices without feeling trapped. And look, if this changed how you think about sugar and diabetes even a little bit, that's a win. Because health isn't about perfection. It's about knowing what actually matters. If you want more videos like this where I break down health science without the nonsense, hit subscribe. I make content like this every week. Real research, real talk, no scare tactics. Just useful information you can actually use. Like the video, share it with someone who still thinks one cookie causes diabetes, and drop a comment if you want me to break down another health myth next time.